Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 204 to 206 based on novel. So let's start. On the other side, the black-robed man suddenly appeared. His right hand formed a seal and grabbed at the void, creating a large vortex. The vortex moved across space and any cultivator that touched it disappeared. Master Flamespark and the black-robed man were extremely quick. While the red-robed old man locked the Moongazer serpent in place, they knocked the surrounding cultivators away one by one. If they met a Yarrow family member, Master Flamespark's eyes would turn cold and he purposely used 10% more strength. This caused them all to become seriously injured before they merged with the world and disappeared. The Moongazer serpent was furious. Although the octagonal seal only sealed it, all of the smaller Moongazer serpents also had octagonal seals appear around them that obstructed them temporarily. Anger filled the Moongazer serpent's body. It couldn't even remember how many years it had been since he had been sealed. It rampaged within the octagonal seal, causing it to shake violently. As the rumble echoed, the Moongazer serpent became even more angry. Then two cracks appeared on the Moongazer serpent's head. They were its eyes. Its eyes were cloudy, as if they were filled with smoke, but there was a hint of madness in them. Bursts of strange words came from its mouth, then countless specks appeared before the Moongaze serpent and formed a large and rough finger. The wrath of the Moongazer was like the finger of an ancient god. The red-robed old man didn't think and pressed both his hands down on the seal. His expression became serious and he shouted, "Quick!" As he spoke, his clothes were blown backwards and his hair flowed without any wind. A large amount of origin energy gathered in his body as if a storm was brewing. The finger the Moongazer serpent created caused the red-robed old man's mind to tremble. As the Moongazer serpent roared once more, the ancient god finger slowly pressed down toward the octagonal seal. When the finger landed on the octangle seal, the seal shattered into countless pieces without any hesitation and was blown back. The red-robed old man's face became pale and he was pushed back with the countless fragments toward Master Flamespark and the middle-aged man. By now those two had already sent all the surrounding cultivators away. Master Flamespark stared at the finger from the Moongazer serpent. His eyes were filled with excitement as he said, "What a good moon beast. If I send you into the Alliance star system, Xianzhongzi will definitely be shocked." As the Moongazer serpent roared, the finger before it quickly pressed down toward the three of them. It looked like a real ancient god had appeared, raised his finger, and pointed down. "Fellow cultivators, we can't resist this beast's strongest attack. If our real bodies were here, we might be able to withstand a hit or hit. Now that our goal is complete, why not let us personally experience the might of this beast?" Master Flamespark laughed as he rushed toward the ancient god finger. The moment he charged out, flames covered his body. A monster flame surged out and completely surrounded him. The finger from the Moongazer serpent arrived and pressed down toward Master Flamespark. Master Flamespark let out a roar as his hands formed a seal and the flame inside his body condensed into a dragon. The flame dragon shot out toward the ancient god finger. This flame dragon was the current Master Flamespark's everything. As the flame dragon rushed out, his body disappeared and there wasn't even a trace of his origin soul left. There was only the flame dragon that collided with the finger. A loud bang echoed across a majority of the northern domain. The flame dragon collapsed as the endless flame warped itself around the ancient god finger and burned violently. The red-robed man's eyes revealed a mysterious light as he laughed and took a step forward. Then his right hand formed a seal and he pressed it between his eyebrows. His entire person turned into a red sword and shot out when the ancient god finger was surrounded by the flame. The black-robed middle-aged man revealed a decisive gaze. He thought that he didn't need this clone, but he must experience this beast's strongest attack. Maybe he would have an unexpected harvest from this experience. After reaching his level of cultivation, it was extremely difficult to advance. In his eyes, perhaps this was his chance. As he rushed out, his hands formed a seal and he turned into a black eagle. Although this eagle was only an illusion, it gave off an ancient aura as it charged straight at the ancient god finger. An unimaginably loud bang echoed across the northern domain. It was as if the entire northern domain was collapsing. All of the cultivators on the cultivation planets felt this sound echo in their heads. The flame dragon collapse. The red sword shattered. The black eagle dissipated. The finger of the ancient god became more bleak but wasn't damaged at all. As the moongazer serpent roared, the ancient god finger immediately swept the area. Finally, it turned back into specks of light and returned to the moongazer serpent's body. The moongazer serpent's eyes became cold as it opened its mouth, and all the smaller moongazer serpents returned back into its mouth. The large moongazer serpent slowly moved forward as its countless tentacles swayed, and it disappeared among the stars. At this moment, in a secret room inside the Thunder Celestial Temple sat 3 people. There was an ancient formation in the room, and the 3 of them were sitting at the key point of the formation. Among the 3, one of them was Master Flamespark. At this moment, he opened his eyes and revealed a look of hesitation. At the same time, the remaining 2 people also opened their eyes. These 2 were respectively the red-robed old man and the black-robed middle-aged man. The black-robed middle-aged man said, "Very strong." The red-robed man named Seong slowly said, "This beast is indeed as my family record says. We shouldn't carelessly provoke it." There was a hint of madness in Master Flamespark's eyes as he calmly said, "Since this is the case, we must gather more people and begin planning to capture this beast." In the eastern domain inside the Yarrow family ancestral hall, more than 10 tokens behind Blood God shattered. The white gas that came out of them was gathered by him with a wave of his sleeve. His expression was grim as he looked up at the sky and muttered, "He is worthy of being someone from the Alliance star system. Compared to my Yarrow family's 3rd generation, he is very decisive when he kills and is very tenacious." After silently pondering for a long time, Blood God's right hand grabbed the air. Red light immediately condensed into a blood-colored jade. Send 2nd generation Yarrow Yun to the northern domain and take Shu Mu's life. As the divine message was sent, the blood jade in front of Blood God released a blood-colored glow and disappeared. The name Master Demon Shu Mu became known by all cultivators after the tragedy that occurred in the northern domain. Under the pursuit of the Yarrow family and countless cultivators, not only did he not die, he used the huge beast to carry out a terrifying counterattack. This caused most of the cultivators to perish and also shocked the entire All-Heaven star system. No more cultivation families were willing to participate in the matter between him and the Yarrow family. The news brought back by the surviving cultivators spread like a storm across the All-Heaven star system. Master Demon Shu Mu must not be provoked unless it's absolutely necessary. This person was extremely crazy. Not only was he very strong, he was also as bloodthirsty as a demon. Not only was he willing to slaughter low-level cultivators, in order to retaliate, he was willing to awaken that huge beast to cause a catastrophe. This kind of viciousness could be compared to Planet Donglin's cultivators. As a result, no one had any thoughts about participating in this anymore. At the same time, the rumors of Shu Mu's actions in the Thunder Celestial Realm began to spread and were engraved in everyone's hearts. The name Master Demon had become famous beyond imagination. Of course, Wang Lin didn't know any of this. Right now he was carefully moving within the Moongazer serpent with a gloomy expression. Countless smaller Moongazer serpents were chasing him. All of their tentacles were curved as if they were extremely excited. They constantly opened their big mouths while they pursued Wang Lin as if trying to devour the remnants of his aura. Wang Lin frowned as he constantly moved forward. He had already felt that something was wrong. The inside of the Moongazer serpent was a lot different from last time. All of the smaller Moongazer serpents became very excited when they saw him. When Yarrow Bingyun attacked him, one even helped him. That scene made Wang Lin ponder. It must be because of the ancient god leather armor. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and with a thought he put away the ancient god leather armor into his bag. After doing this, his body flickered and he quickly changed directions. The Moongazer serpents pursuing him immediately became angry, as if something they liked was taken away. They split up and constantly searched the area. Wang Lin let out a breath of relief as he cautiously moved through the Moongazer serpent, looking for where Greed's furnace was. That furnace was something that made him very excited. However, waves of vibrations suddenly spread out across the Moongazer serpent's body. As the ripples spread, they quickly closed in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression changed and he quickly retreated to avoid the ripples. However, ripples appeared from behind him as well. They were too fast and immediately went through Wang Lin's body. In an instant, the ripples dissipated. It was as if they were used to find abnormalities inside its body. At this moment, the Moongazer serpent found Wang Lin. A muffled roar echoed inside the Moongazer serpent. It was its spell that could shatter Origin Soul. At first it was light, but it became more intense. In the end, it was like endless, roaring thunder rumbling in his ears. As the roar echoed, Wang Lin's expression turned pale. He felt pain in his Origin Soul, as if it was being torn apart. If he still had the ancient god leather armor on, it wouldn't have been this strong, but the pain right now caused blood to come out of his orifices. Feeling a sense of danger, Wang Lin let out a wry smile and slapped his bag of holding. The ancient god leather armor appeared and shrouded his Origin Soul. It was as if a barrier was suddenly formed around his ears. Although the roar was still strong, the impact on his Origin Soul had been reduced to a point where Wang Lin could withstand it. However, the aura coming from the ancient god leather armor caused all the tentacles on the smaller Moongazer serpents to wiggle in excitement. They all rushed toward Wang Lin like crazy. Wang Lin's scalp felt numb. He was stuck in a difficult situation. If he took off the leather armor, his Origin Soul would collapse under this roar. However, if he wore the leather armor, it would attract large amounts of small Moongazer serpents. After letting out a sigh, Wang Lin's expression suddenly changed as a cold aura came from the soil in front of him. A crack suddenly appeared and a Moongazer serpent more than 100 feet long rushed out toward Wang Lin. From Wang Lin's view, its large mouth wasn't simply going to devour the aura from the leather armor. After 1,000 years of cultivation, Wang Lin didn't have the habit of comforting himself. He didn't think that the Moongazer serpent was going to recognize him as its owner just because of the ancient god aura. At this moment, Wang Lin's expression became serious, his eyes became cold, and he quickly retreated. The Moongazer serpent rushed toward him and constantly devoured the aura coming out from Wang Lin's body. Cultivators couldn't feel this aura, and those beasts with inheritances from ancient times were unable to detect it. Only a few creatures aside from the Moongazer serpents could detect an ancient god's aura. Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. It was likely that when this Moongazer serpent was devouring the ancient god's aura, it would devour him as well. Just as he retreated, an even colder aura surrounded the area. Wang Lin's expression became even more gloomy and he immediately changed directions. A crack appeared in the earth behind where he was and a 1,000-foot Moongazer serpent rushed out. This Moongazer serpent had all of its tentacles wrapped around its body and its mouth open wide as if it was very excited. There were even large amounts of saliva coming out from its mouth as it tried to devour Wang Lin. Wang Lin changed his direction as cracking sounds came from all directions. More than 10 cracks appeared and different-sized Moongazer serpents charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were calm. As he retreated, Origin energy gathered in his body and then suddenly surged out. This created a vortex that collapsed, causing him to retreat even faster. A large number of Moongazer serpents was chasing after him. These Moongazer serpents' eyes were filled with excitement, but underneath them were terrifying glares. They wanted to devour the aura of the leather armor. Even more, they want to devour Wang Lin so they could forever have that aura that excited them. Wang Lin's scalp went numb as he was chased by the Moongazer serpents. He revealed a wry smile and then stopped. Hundreds of cracks appeared before him and Moongazer serpents rushed out. Combined with the ones behind him, the large group of Moongazer serpents trapped him. Just as these Moongazer serpents charged out to devour Wang Lin revealed a vicious gaze and a loud roar echoed through the Moongazer serpent's body. As the roar echoed, all of the smaller Moongazer serpents charging at Wang Lin stopped. They retreated, creating a passage. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, but just at this moment, cracking sounds appeared. A large Moongazer serpent suddenly came through the passage. It was too fast and the aura it gave off was no weaker than the blood ancestors. At this instant, it caused Wang Lin's expression to change greatly. As that Moongazer serpent rushed out with an incredible speed, it directly swallowed Wang Lin. It then quickly drilled into the earth and left. All of the moongazer serpents followed after it into the distance. That moongazer serpent was grey and its eyes were filled with ruthlessness. It was too fast, especially inside its mother's body. In only 5 minutes, they arrived at a mysterious place. There was no soil here, only a large vortex. Every time it completed a cycle, it would release bursts of cold energy into the surrounding area. If Wang Lin could see the vortex, he would recognize that this was where the head of the moongazer serpent was located. I was also where the moon essence was located. After arriving here, the moongazer serpent suddenly opened its mouth and spat. Wang Lin was immediately launched out. He didn't even have any chance to resist before he disappeared into the vortex. The large amount of moongazer serpents lied down and remained motionless. Inside the vortex, after Wang Lin entered, his eyes lit up. The moment he was swallowed by the moongazer serpent, a mysterious power immediately entered his body and stopped his origin energy from operating. It was as if his origin soul was cut from his body and he had gone from a cultivator to a mortal. This caused Wang Lin's mind to shake greatly. However, he immediately noticed that the ancient god leather armor gave off a suction force that immediately absorbed this mysterious power. As a result, his origin energy resumed operation. After Wang Lin was thrown into the vortex, he was finally able to clearly see around him. What he saw made him suck in a breath of cold air and he was shocked. This was a long and narrow space. Tentacles were sticking out from the void and were slowly swaying. Wang Lin saw a large furnace bound by countless tentacles as if they were absorbing its aura. A large bulge would occasionally move through the tentacles. This furnace was the one that belonged to greed. This furnace only made Wang Lin suck in a breath of cold air. What shocked him were the people entangled by the tentacles. These people were all naked and very thin. There were male and female, old and young, all densely packed. Almost every tentacle was wrapped around a person. All of these people's eyes were closed and there was almost no vitality from their bodies, as if they were corpses. The tentacles wrapped around them were clearly absorbing their vitality. Wang Lin didn't know any of them. He could vaguely feel that not all of them were cultivators. There were mortals among them. For example, the boy that looked to be only 6 or 7 years old. Although his body was completely dried up, Wang Lin was still able to tell that he was a child. At this moment, he was only skins and bones without any sign of life. His face still maintained an expression of extreme pain and despair. A chill appeared inside Wang Lin's heart and surrounded him. His gaze went into the depths of this area, and it was endless. Wang Lin could imagine that there were more tentacles there and that every tentacle had a person entangled. Moongazer serpent, Wang Lin silently pondered. He could have guessed these people were gathered by the moongazer serpent over the countless years and became a source of life for the moongazer serpent. There was even a terrifying idea inside Wang Lin's mind. Back when the moongazer serpent was planet Yunxia, there were ruins of cities on it. Planet Yunxia once had cultivators and mortals. Did they really move away? Wang Lin took a deep breath and revealed a complicated expression. His gaze was still on the boy. Just at this moment, countless tentacles appeared in the void and moved like lightning toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. If he didn't have the ancient god leather armor, he would be like these mortals. He wouldn't be able to resist at all as the tentacles sucked away his life. However, right now killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He didn't touch the tentacles but quickly dodged and charged toward the large furnace. Unless he had to, Wang Lin wasn't willing to destroy these tentacles. If he did so and was detected by the moongazer serpent, it might do something new. As he rushed out, the tentacles missed. Wang Lin's body was like smoke when he arrived near the large furnace. The furnace gave off an ancient aura that slowly spread out. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The aura inside the furnace was even stronger. The tentacles around the furnace were only wrapped around the surface as if they were unwilling to go inside. At this moment, countless more tentacles appeared in the void and headed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't hesitate and went directly into the furnace. Just as he went inside, a powerful force came out from the vortex at the entrance. Shortly after, a woman's charming shadow appeared inside the vortex. Her face was pale and her eyes were closed. She had clearly lost consciousness. As soon as she appeared, half of the tentacles went after her. They wrapped her up and continued to absorb her vitality. The moment Wang Lin entered the furnace, he was able to clearly see the woman's appearance. She was Yarrow Bingyun. Yarrow Bingyun's clothes showed traces of corrosion as the tentacles wrapped around her. Even her bag of holding wasn't able to escape and had collapsed. Yarrow Bingyun's clothes were in tatters, revealing large amount of skin. At this moment, her eyelashes trembled and she opened her eyes. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he went inside the furnace. The space inside the furnace was limited and Wang Lin immediately began to operate the origin energy inside his body. The tentacles that extended toward him wrapped around the furnace. However, they didn't dare to enter the furnace and only stayed outside of it. Wang Lin let out a sigh of relief. This place could only be considered temporarily safe. He began pondering and ignored everything outside. Then he sat down and began cultivating with his eyes closed. The moment he closed his eyes, there was a flicker in his shadow and Tarshan walked out. Tarshan sat down, and if there were any signs of trouble, he would immediately act. While Wang Lin sat there, he felt exhaustion in his heart. Ever since he entered the Thunder Celestial Realm, he had been in a state of high alert. After he left the Thunder Celestial Realm, he was sent into the Nether Beast and was only able to leave after a gruesome battle. Originally, he planned to find Li Yun to study restrictions and rest a bit after leading the chosen Immortal clan to planet Qing Lin. However, that happened afterward forced Wang Lin to be ruthless and fight. The Yarrow family's pursuit and the participation of other cultivation families forced Wang Lin to flee. Although he held the advantage, a situation where a moment of carelessness would lead serious injuries or his death was very exhausting. This had been building up inside his body, and now that he was sitting inside this furnace, he was finally able to relax a little. The cultivators outside must have suffered heavy casualties under the Moongazer Serpent's attack. I believe there won't be any more people hunting me for a short period of time. Even if they come, they can't come into the Moongazer Serpent's body and find me. Although this place is dangerous, it is also very safe. Wang Lin's eyes were closed as the origin energy cycled through his body and slowly nourished his origin soul. As his origin energy cycled inside his body, there were bursts of pain coming from his origin soul. He had faced many crises during this period of time. If not for the ancient god leather armor, he would have died many times already. The cruelty of the cultivation world, where your life could end at any moment, couldn't move Wang Lin's Dao heart. He was already used to such experiences due to his time in the Alliance star system. It could be said that this kind of experience had accompanied him for most of his life. Yarrow Bingyun's spell damages the origin soul too much. If it wasn't for the ancient god leather armor, Wang Lin opened his eyes and there was a flash of coldness from within his eyes. His body wasn't damaged much, it was mostly his origin soul. Although, thanks to the ancient god leather armor, it wasn't too serious. Now that he had calmed down, he became immersed in his cultivation. Countless tentacles swayed outside the furnace. Near the vortex, Yarrow Bingyun didn't panic and instead was calm. When she was escaping from the Moongazer Serpent, she was devoured by a large Moongazer Serpent. A mysterious power immediately entered her body and separated her origin energy from her body, turning her into a mortal. Shortly after, she lost consciousness. When she awakened, she found herself here. The tentacles here wrapped tightly around her. A cold sensation came from the tentacles and flowed through her body. The origin energy inside her body was being slowly drained. This process wasn't fast, but it never stopped. Yarrow Bingyun's eyes were calm. She had always pursued Dao and had a calm personality. Even though she was aware of the loss of origin energy, she knew that panicking wouldn't help. Only by remaining calm could she find a way to escape. However, when she saw her surroundings, her face immediately turned pale. The dried-up people wrapped within the countless tentacles almost caused Yarrow Bingyun's calmness to collapse. After a long time, she took a deep breath to force herself to calm down. She found that the tentacle wrapped around her wasn't only absorbing her origin energy but also her vitality. Eyes close. Yarrow Bingyun silently pondered for a moment. Her heart was calm as she closed her eyes. Ears shut. Her body trembled slightly as her ears were closed off and isolated everything outside. Breath disappear. At this moment, Yarrow Bingyun's body relaxed and her breath disappeared. Seal soul. Her origin soul had completely stopped moving. Although it was separated from her origin energy, her origin soul had sealed itself into a very mysterious realm. Seal existence. Everything that was alive had an existence. At this moment, Yarrow Bingyun decisively sealed her existence. All the vitality disappeared from her body. She floated there like a corpse. Yarrow Bingyun had already reached the seal existence level of the Soul Seal celestial spell. Talent doesn't have much of a role in cultivating this spell. Instead, it has a very strict requirement on the Dao heart so that one doesn't get lost within the spell. After sealing herself completely, cracking sounds came from inside her body. A thin layer of ice appeared from inside her body and quickly spread. The ice crystal sealed the tentacle that was wrapped around her as well. The cold energy from her body became stronger and stronger as the ice gradually increased. In the end, more than 3 feet of ice surrounded her. She was half naked and sealed inside the ice. Her expression was extremely calm and would make one's heart race. Time slowly passed. There was no sign of days passing inside the Moongazer serpent's body. The Moongazer serpent's large body slowly wandered through the northern domain. On this day, the Moongazer serpent stopped. This was deep in the northern domain. There weren't many stars here and there were no cultivation planets nearby. After the Moongazer serpent stopped, its body slowly rolled up and became a cultivation planet once more. The countless tentacles around it contracted and large amount of black fog came out, surrounding the planet. The tentacles became shorter and shorter until they were only 1,000 feet long. They swayed around on the surface of the planet and the surroundings became tranquil once more. Inside the mysterious and narrow space inside the Moongazer serpent's body, Wang Lin opened his eyes. Injuries to the origin soul weren't easy to heal. After cultivating this whole time, he had only recovered 80%. Wang Lin's eyes were like lightning as he looked at the furnace surrounding him. The furnace contained a very strong ancient god aura. Although it was constantly being absorbed by the Moongazer serpent, it was still very strong. The Moongazer serpent didn't kill me but threw me here. Aside from absorbing vitality, this is also where the Moongazer serpent absorbs ancient god aura. Wang Lin began contemplating. It was obvious that whenever this large Moongazer serpent found some person or thing with ancient god aura, it would throw it in here. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he muttered, "That means there must be other things related to the ancient god here." Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light as he raised his hand and pressed it against the wall of the furnace. His divine sense quickly went into the furnace. Since greed can make it his own, then I can as well. Wang Lin's divine sense entered the furnace. At this instant, he immediately felt a powerful suction force pulling his origin soul. Wang Lin was prepared for the suction force. This was clearly from the tentacles wrapped around the furnace. His origin soul was firm like a solitary boat in the raging waves as he struggled to enter deeper into the furnace. Wang Lin's divine sense gradually spread across the furnace while enduring the suction force and left his imprint. However, he didn't gain any feeling that he could control it. Wang Lin frowned and didn't give up. His divine sense spread across the furnace again, and he left his imprints inch by inch. This process was extremely slow. He had to resist the suction force while he did it, which was very difficult for Wang Lin given his cultivation level. Time slowly passed, but Wang Lin didn't stop. As he continued to imprint on the furnace, he seemed to find some clues. There was a rune carved on the corner on the outside of the furnace. This rune was very complex, and although it was carved on the furnace, it wasn't carved very deep. From the surface, it was very difficult to detect with the naked eye. Even with divine sense, unless one searched bit by bit like Wang Lin, it would be impossible to notice it. There was still a trace of divine sense imprinted on this rune. After Wang Lin's divine sense examined it, his eyes immediately turned cold. He could clearly feel a trace of greed's aura on that imprint. Greed isn't dead. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and gradually calmed down after a long time. Greed isn't dead. His imprint is still there, so I can't control the furnace. But if his imprint is there, why can I still imprint on this furnace? As Wang Lin pondered, he suddenly thought about the rune Greed's imprint was on. This giant furnace was refined and thrown away by an ancient god. In the ancient god's memories, there was only the appearance of the furnace and no method of using it. After all, the memory inheritance I obtained was not complete. Wang Lin's divine sense spread across the furnace and began observing the rune. After a long time, his eyes gradually lit up. Although he was hostile toward Greed, right now he couldn't help but feel a trace of admiration toward Greed. This Greed is really talented. It's obvious that he didn't know how to use this furnace when he first obtained it and was unable to control it. So he managed to get this unknown rune that he carved onto the furnace and connected it to some of the abilities inside. What he actually manipulated was this rune, and by controlling this rune, he was able to use some of the furnace's abilities. Wang Lin took a deep breath and without any hesitation all of his divine sense gathered toward that rune. After wiping out Greed's divine sense imprint, this furnace will return to its original owner. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with excitement. Just as his divine sense was about to wipe out Greed's divine sense, his expression suddenly changed and his divine sense stopped. His divine sense rapidly withdrew from the furnace back into his body. Part 205. Wang Lin formed seals with his hand and pressed it on his chest several times. His aura completely disappeared and he left a trace of divine sense to observe what was happening outside. A cold aura quickly filled the narrow space. The source of this cold aura was a thin person wrapped by the tentacles. This person was an old man. Originally, there was no vitality inside his body, but as the cold aura filled the area, a powerful surge of vitality filled his body. This vitality was so strong that it made the old man's body blow up like a balloon. However, the strange thing was that the old man's eyes were still closed without any signs of opening. When Wang Lin's divine sense saw this, his mind shook. Thanks to his cultivation level and life and death domain, he could clearly see that there was a hint of death aura within that vitality. However, the death aura was completely suppressed by the vitality. As the vitality increased, the old man's body became bigger and bigger. There was a series of popping sounds as the bones in the old man's body shattered as if they wouldn't able to withstand this force. As a result, without the bones connecting, everything ballooned up even more. Cold energy spread out like crazy from its body, causing the surrounding area to be filled with cold energy. Even the tentacles slowly retreated. Just as the old man's body expanded to a certain size, almost a ball of flesh, a bulge appeared. This bulge quickly moved through the old man's body. Muffled yet sharp cries came from inside the old man's body. Wang Lin was very familiar with this sound. The moment Wang Lin heard it, his expression became extremely ugly. Just at this moment, the old man's body trembled and a crack appeared on his body. A large amount of cold energy came out from the crack, then a sharp roar came from within the body as if it was very excited. The countless tentacles all began to sway as if they were welcoming the birth of their own kind. After an instant, a 20-foot-long slender object came out from the crack in the old man's body. It constantly twisted its body until the old man's body finally exploded. There was no flesh or blood, only a burst of cold energy. Then the 20-foot-long thing shot out. This shocked Wang Lin as it was a small moongazer serpent. This moongazer serpent was obviously a newborn, and all the tentacles on its body were transparent. After it appeared, it immediately turned around and inhaled the old man's collapsed body. The old man's body seemed to melt and was devoured by the small moongazer serpent. It continued to wiggle its body as it absorbed the cold energy nearby. Its body quickly grew from 20 feet to 100 feet long. The tentacles around its body slowly turned dark red and it suddenly became ferocious. With its body wiggling, it moved like lightning toward the vortex ahead. There was no obstruction when it passed through the vortex. After the moongazer serpent left, the tentacles gradually returned to normal. The cold energy slowly disappeared as it was absorbed by the tentacles. Everything returned back to normal, but there was one person missing. The tentacles that were wrapped around the old man slowly retreated and disappeared into the void. Wang Lin's eyes opened and he gasped. No wonder there are so many moongazer serpents. According to Tusai's memories, If a moongazer serpent stays out of an ancient god's body for too long, it will without a doubt die. However, not only did this moongazer serpent not die, it has been using the bodies of cultivators and mortals to form new life. It has almost formed a life cycle. This moongazer serpent must have undergone an astonishing change over the countless years, or else this would be impossible. Wang Lin had a very good understanding of the moongazer serpent, and right now he was able to guess 70% to 80% of what happened. He silently pondered for a while. After everything quieted down, his divine sense spread out once more toward the rune on the furnace. Once he enveloped the rune, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and his divine sense mercilessly collided with Greed's divine sense. Even at Greed's peak, his cultivation level was almost on par with the current Wang Lin. Given that he was seriously injured, his imprint was extremely weak. After being attacked by Wang Lin's divine sense, it didn't take long for it to collapse. The moment Greed's divine sense was wiped out, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to leave his own imprint on the rune. Greed experienced an almost certain death situation to obtain this large furnace. He knew it was a treasure, but he couldn't control it. At some point, he thought of an elaborate method to control it and spent over 1,000 years to obtain the rune. He had carefully engraved the rune on the furnace to control it, but now all of this benefited Wang Lin. As his divine sense imprinted on the rune, a strange feeling appeared within Wang Lin. This was a very familiar feeling and a connection occurred with it and the ancient god leather armor. However, this feeling was like a flower in the mist, very vague. It was as if there was a layer separating it from him and he couldn't completely grasp it. Wang Lin knew the method he was controlling the furnace with was wrong and was merely taking a shortcut like Greed. Although this gave him basic control, it wouldn't let me use the full power of the furnace. However, Wang Lin wasn't in a rush. His eyes lit up and he muttered, "As long as I return to the Alliance star system, this furnace will display its true power in the hands of my original body." Then both of his hands formed seals according to the vague feeling he had. With a thought from his divine sense, the furnace shook and released a hum. A ripple spread from the furnace and white gas came out. This white gas was very dense and surrounded Wang Lin. At this moment, Wang Lin felt like he was one with the furnace. This was a very wonderful feeling. It was as if he was the furnace. With a thought, Wang Lin softly said, "Change position." After he said those two words, the furnace shook and disappeared. When it reappeared, it was outside of the tentacle's entanglement. What was strange was that the tentacles didn't move and maintained their original position. It was as if to them, the furnace was still there. Wang Lin's body came out from the furnace and the white gas followed him. At this moment, he looked like a celestial riding on a cloud. Then Wang Lin's eyes lit up and landed on Yarrow Bingyun. When his divine sense was spreading across the furnace before, he noticed Yarrow Bingyun. However, he was focused on imprinting the furnace, so he didn't get a closer look. Now that he had obtained the furnace, he had time to observe her. Through the ice, Yarrow Bingyun's half-naked body gave off a strange sense of beauty. Yarrow Bingyun was already beautiful, but with her eyes closed, she didn't give off the coldness she once did. Instead, it was a lovely feeling. However, none of this had any effect on Wang Lin, and his eyes were as calm as water. This woman's cultivation method is indeed strange. Even when her origin energy was separated from her, she was still able to protect herself. She sealed off everything inside her body, so the moongazer serpent can't absorb anything. However, she underestimated the moongazer serpent. Although this method works, I can guess that this ice will collapse not too long from now. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he pondered, then he raised his right hand and pressed down toward the ice. "You have been hunting me all this time and almost killed me twice. If I don't get my revenge, then I won't be Wang Lin." Wang Lin revealed a smile and mercilessly pressed down on the ice. A large amount of the origin energy inside his body surged out through his finger and into the ice. There was a loud crackling sound and large amount of cracks began appearing on the ice with Wang Lin's finger as the center. The cracks stopped 1 inch away from Yarrow Bingyun's body and couldn't continue. As Wang Lin stared at Yarrow Bingyun inside the ice, his eyes became cold. More origin energy from his body surged to his finger and entered the ice. As the cracking sounds echoed, Wang Lin didn't stop. He continued to move around Yarrow Bingyun and pointed at different spots. Large amounts of ice fell off until there was only 1 inch of ice around Yarrow Bingyun. This woman must be among the best of Yarrow family's 3rd generation. Since the Yarrow family wants to kill me, then I'll refine her into a celestial guard. Even if it fails, it won't matter. Wang Lin's heart was extremely decisive. As long as it was an enemy, he would show no mercy. Even if the enemy was an extreme beauty, he would feel no pity. Moreover, even though she was beautiful, she still couldn't compare to Liu Mai. This is all karma. If you hadn't hunted me, then this wouldn't be happening today. Wang Lin opened his mouth and spat out essence origin energy that directly circled the ice around Yarrow Bingyun. As it grinded away at the ice, his right hand constantly pointed to the ice. Cracking sounds echoed once more and the ice around her began to crack. In truth, if her origin energy was present when she used this spell, Wang Lin wouldn't have been able to destroy it so easily. However, because her origin energy was separated from her, it gave Wang Lin this chance. Yarrow Bingyun would have never expected Wang Lin to be here with her. Moreover, she wouldn't have expected Wang Lin to keep his origin energy due to the ancient god leather armor and be able to move about freely. Just as the ice around Yarrow Bingyun began to collapse, she slowly opened her eyes and looked at Wang Lin. At the moment Yarrow Bingyun's eyes opened, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he revealed a smile. His right hand opened up and origin energy rapidly condensed on his 5 fingers. These 5 fingers all shined brightly when they landed on the ice around Yarrow Bingyun. Then Wang Lin quickly retreated. The white gas surrounded his body, so he raised his hand and mercilessly chopped down. This chop wasn't directed toward Yarrow Bingyun but toward the tentacles that entangled her. All of this happened in a flash. It was inconceivably fast. When those 5 rays of origin energy landed on the ice around Yarrow Bingyun, there was a series of popping sounds as they penetrated through the ice like 5 poisonous dragons toward Yarrow Bingyun. What is your Dao? Yarrow Bingyun didn't even dodge or look at the 5 dragons rushing at her. Her face was pale, but it revealed a determined look, showing her firm Dao heart. At this moment of crisis, she gave up everything but her Dao heart and began a domain battle with Wang Lin. However, Wang Lin had already predicted she would do this before she even opened her eyes. To be more accurate, Wang Lin and Yarrow Bingyun, in some respect, were the same kind of people. Even when they were going to die, they would give it their all. Even if they were destined to die, they would take the other into the reincarnation cycle with them. The moment Yarrow Bingyun opened her mouth, her eyes were filled with confusion. An illusory figure appeared before her. This was the figure of a woman, to be more accurate, a 14 to 15-year-old girl. The girl had her hair tied up in a bun and she had a weak and helpless appearance. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. It seemed like she was mute. The moment the girl appeared, a sad Dao domain diffused toward Wang Lin. However, just at this moment, the heavenly chop Wang Lin had sent out reached the tentacles around Yarrow Bingyun. Wang Lin had controlled the power of the heavenly chop very well. It wasn't enough to hurt the tentacles but enough to stimulate them. When the heavenly chop hit the tentacles, they suddenly contracted. When the tentacles contracted, Yarrow Bingyun's face immediately turned pale and she coughed out a mouthful of blood. Sounds also came from her body, it as if her bones couldn't withstand the pressure anymore. As the tentacles contracted, they suddenly began to move rapidly. The heavenly chop had stimulated the tentacles and made them go crazy. Yarrow Bingyun's eyes dimmed. With her body separated from her origin energy, she was like a mortal. Being thrashed around by the tentacle caused her to reveal a bitter smile and despair appeared in her eyes. The pain from her body wasn't able to make her Dao heart unstable. However, the stimulated tentacles began absorbing like crazy. Not only were they absorbing her vitality and origin energy, her Dao was being absorbed as well. The illusory girl that appeared before Yarrow Bingyun became blurry and then completely disappeared. Younger sister, Yarrow Bingyun looked at the girl that disappeared and then she closed her eyes. Her vitality and her Dao were being rapidly absorbed by the tentacles. Wang Lin had already calculated everything before he decided to break the ice. If she didn't wake up, then it wouldn't matter, but even if she did, given how she was entangled by the tentacles, Wang Lin wasn't afraid. What he depended on was speed and initiative. The moment Yarrow Bingyun's domain diffused, it disappeared, but the extreme sadness stayed. This shocked Wang Lin, and his eyes lit up. Without hesitating, his right hand pointed toward Yarrow Bingyun's body. Popping sounds quickly echoed as the ice around Yarrow Bingyun completely collapsed, revealing her body. Wang Lin's right hand didn't stop. His hand continued to form seals that fell on Yarrow Bingyun's body. One by one, the restrictions landed on her body and origin soul. As he continued to place restrictions, Wang Lin's left hand pointed at the sky and the Karma Whip appeared. It charged into Yarrow Bingyun's body and locked her origin soul. Wang Lin still felt uneasy, so he slapped his bag of holding and the soul flag appeared. The flag wrapped itself tightly around Yarrow Bingyun. Finally, Wang Lin spat out the celestial sealing stamp. When it appeared, Wang Lin's hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Seal." Hundreds of thousands of golden runes appeared and moved like a golden river onto Yarrow Bingyun's body, sealing her completely. Each of the runes represented a seal. As the hundreds of thousands of golden runes were sealing Yarrow Bingyun, Wang Lin's heart relaxed. He retreated back to the furnace and then his right hand formed a seal. Then he pointed at Yarrow Bingyun and softly said, "Change position." The furnace trembled. It was as if a force that could split the heavens had appeared inside the Moongazer serpent's body. As this force filled the area, Yarrow Bingyun's body disappeared without a trace. When she reappeared, Wang Lin grabbed her and put her away inside his bag like a treasure. This is not the best place to refine a celestial guard. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he returned back to the top of the furnace. With a thought, the furnace slowly floated forward. Along the way, the white gas around the furnace seemed to isolate itself, so the tentacles around it didn't bother it. Back then, this was how Greed was able to avoid the smaller Moongazer serpents and tentacles to escape several times. However, he would always fail due to the main Moongazer serpent's abilities. However, this did show that the white gas from the furnace had a stealth effect inside the Moongazer serpent. Wang Lin was being very cautious. His eyes lit up as he looked around. All of the people that were entangled by the tentacles entered Wang Lin's eyes one by one. The deeper he went into this narrow area, the more tentacles there were. The ferocious expressions of all the cultivators and mortals that showed the pain they suffered before death made Wang Lin silently ponder. As he moved, aside from these mortals and cultivators, Wang Lin didn't find anything with ancient god aura. He wasn't impatient and slowly moved forward. More tentacles gradually appeared. They were so dense that they sealed the path, making it difficult for Wang Lin to navigate. However, by using the furnace's spell, Wang Lin was able to directly teleport past them. After an unknown amount of time spent moving forward, the mortals and cultivators that were entangled by the tentacles changed. They were no longer dried bodies, some had a very faint trace of vitality. However, their vitality was too weak. It was like a candle in the wind that could extinguish at any time. Wang Lin's expression changed slightly and he continued to move forward. More and more people with vitality left in their bodies appeared, and as he continued forward, the vitality in these bodies became stronger. Wang Lin suddenly stopped and stared at the endless tunnel and thought, "It looks like this Moongazer serpent absorbs vitality from the outside first. The deeper I go, the more vitality the people trapped here have. I wonder if I can find a sober person in here." Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he sped up and charged forward. The number of people with vitality remaining increased, but Wang Lin didn't stop to check. As he closed in to the depths of the tunnel, he suddenly felt a call from within his soul. This soul seemed to be coming from the soul. This caused Wang Lin's mind to tremble violently. Come. Come. This feeling seemed to set off a storm inside his mind. The storm was several times stronger than when he saw the furnace. This voice contained a penetrating force. It penetrated his body, penetrated his origin soul, and directly echoed within in his soul. That call from the soul didn't only affect Wang Lin, even his original body back in the Alliance star system felt it. The origin body was hidden inside a cultivation planet, but at this moment, his eyes suddenly opened. His eyes shined brightly like the sun. Wang Lin gasped and his eyes sparkled. Come. Come, the call continued, causing not only Wang Lin's body, but even his origin's soul to tremble. This voice had an endless force that made him feel like he had to move forward and see what was ahead. While silently pondering, Wang Lin closed his eyes, but in the next instant, he suddenly opened them. They were now filled with resolve. He rushed toward the source of that call without any hesitation. At this moment, as the Moongazer serpent had turned back into a planet a few months ago and had gone back to sleep, everything was quiet. It was as if everything had stopped. However, on this day there was a ray of light carrying a shocking aura coming in from the distance. This was a middle-aged man. He was the black-robed man that battled against the Moongazer serpent. This time he came with his original body. Behind him was the image of a 1,000-foot-tall black eagle. This eagle's eyes were like lightning and looked every cold. The moment he appeared, thundering sounds came from the distances. It was Master Flamespark, who had closed in with one step. Just as Master Flamespark appeared, there was a flash of red light and a 100,000-foot-wide octagonal formation appeared in space. The pressure it gave off was so powerful that one could clearly feel it even from very far away. As the octagonal formation flashed red, an aura that could make the heavens tremble slowly spread. The formation shined brightly and 4 people walked out from within. All 4 of them wore red and they were all boys. Their expressions were cold without any emotion, as if they were puppets. The moment they appeared, they split into 4 directions and surrounded the planet formed by the Moongazer serpent. The 4 boys sat down in the lotus position and a blood core floated out from each of their head. The 4 blood core immediately linked together and surrounded the Moongazer serpent. The red-robed old man walked out from the giant formation. Although his expression was calm, his eyes were cold. His body gave off powerful killing intent that was targeted at the Moongazer serpent. Master Flamespark's eyes lit up as he looked at the 4 boys and smiled. "Fellow cultivator Seong, you've actually brought the Seong family's 4 god-sealing sons. With this, our chances will increase. Did fellow cultivator Gong Sun invite any other friends to participate?" The black-robed man Sun Gun calmly said, "The Shengong family ancestor and the Zhon family Li Yunai's." The red-robed old man named Seong appeared next to Master Flamespark and smiled. This old man didn't invite many people, just Blood God and 5-color Daoist. "I believe they should be here soon." After hearing the name Blood God, Master Flamespark snorted in his heart and said, "I only invited 1 person. As for who it is, you'll all know in a bit." As he spoke, a ray of silver light came in from the distance. There was a middle-aged man standing on the silver light, and his appearance was similar to Shengong Hu's. In a flash, he appeared before everyone here. Shengong. After he arrived, he clasped his hands and no longer spoke. He merely looked at the Moongazer serpent. There was no change to his expression and no one knew what he was thinking. Waves of silver light arched around him. It looked very shocking. At this moment, rumbling sounds came from the stars and a giant ship came from the distance. There were countless young women wearing colorful dresses and dancing on the ship. There was a loud laugh as a white-haired old man in a 5-colored robe jumped off from the ship and arrived next to everyone. "I made fellow cultivators wait. On the way here, I encountered several good cultivation furnaces and was delayed." The old man wearing the 5-colored robe had a ruddy complexion and his skin was extremely smooth, like that of a baby. As soon as he arrived, a strange feminine aura filled the area. The Seong family old man laughed and said, "To catch the eye of 5-color Daoist, those cultivation furnace must be extraordinary. If bother Seong wants, I'll send you one after we capture this beast." 5-color Daoist looked around and was secretly shocked. Everyone here was a famous old monster. Since all of them were gathered here, they were definitely going to capture this beast. As the 2 spoke, the Shengong family ancestor didn't participate in the conversation, he only stared at the Moongazer serpent. As for the black-robed man, he was even more silent. Master Flamespark's face was calm. Although 5-color Daoist's cultivation level was high, it wasn't worthy of his attention. Just at this moment, a person came from the distance. He was wearing white and looked like a young man, but he gave off an ancient aura. Overall, this made him give off a strange aura. There weren't any magical treasures under him, he was walking with his feet. He was extremely calm, and when he arrived, He only looked at everyone before clasping his hands. He didn't speak. Li Yunzi. Master Flamespark's eyes narrowed. The white-robed man nodded slightly and stood there. He still hadn't said a word. Rumor has it that the Zhon family's Li Yunzi has a bad temper. Once, he went on a rampage and extinguished 13 cultivation families. This made him famous and everyone remembered his temper. Master Flamespark withdrew his gaze and suddenly looked into the distance. A large amount of red light appeared in the distance and the smell of blood quickly spread across the horizon. The blood light quickly appeared within 100 feet of everyone and immediately condensed into a person. This person was an old man with red eyebrows and a blood-red robe that looked like it was dyed with fresh blood. He had a gloomy expression, and when he appeared, he didn't look at anyone else. Instead, he looked at the Moongazer serpent with a mysterious light in his eyes. Blood God. At the moment he appeared, all the old monster's eyes narrowed and looked at him. Li Yunzi and the Shengong family ancestor were no exception. Blood God withdrew his gaze and his eyes swept across everyone here. Finally, he looked at Master Flamespark and calmly said, Master Flamespark, you took away my grandson's origin soul. Once the tunnel to the Alliance star system is opened, we will battle. There was a flash of coldness in Master Flamespark's eyes and he smiled. I'll be honored to accompany you. At this moment, bolts of thunder shot through the northern domain. Almost all of the messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple had come out. They circled around the Moongazer serpent and formed a circular blockade 50,000 kilometers away from the Moongazer serpent. Each of these messengers formed a seal that allowed them to connect with each other through a secret method. Soon, dense thunder appeared between them and formed a blockade of thunder around the Moongazer serpent. Around 5,000 kilometers behind the messengers were cultivators wearing black and red robes. They formed a second blockage to ensure nothing would escape. Wang Lin naturally didn't know about any of this. The call from his soul became even more clear, and as his soul trembled, it caused all of his blood to boil. Still standing on the large furnace, Wang Lin moved very fast and rushed toward the end of the narrow passage. The call from his soul became stronger and stronger until it filled this soul. Come! Come! Wang Lin moved faster and faster. 5 minutes later, the call was like thunder and it echoed through his body. At this moment, he saw what was calling him ahead. What Wang Lin saw caused his body to shake violently and his pupils suddenly shrank. Before him were over 100 tentacles wrapped around a baby. This baby's body was extremely large, dozens of feet tall. His eyes were currently closed and he was curled up. The rich vitality from his body was being absorbed by the Moongazer serpent. 8 illusory stars flickered on the baby's forehead, but none of them were solid. They rotated, creating a mysterious force that was also absorbed by the Moongazer serpent. Wang Lin gasped. His mind was shocked like it never had been before. Ancient God-child. Wang Lin stared at this and recalled from Ancient God Two-Size memories. There were only 2 explanations for why the stars on the baby were illusory. The first was that the child's father was an 8-star Ancient God and had left the power of an 8-star Ancient God inside the body of the child. The second was terrifying, and this explanation made Wang Lin's heart feel cold. The second explanation was that this child Ancient God wasn't a child but an adult 8-star Ancient God. However, he was either seriously injured or had experienced some unimaginable change. This caused his Ancient God power to degenerate, so he went from his adult form back to this child form. If it really is the second explanation, then where did the power of the Ancient God go? Wang Lin was gloomy as he looked at the surroundings. He especially focused on the hundreds of tentacles, and an shocking idea emerged. Could it be that the Moongazer serpent's massive change has something to do with this? The Moongazer serpent captured the Ancient God and now possess its power. Wang Lin slowly backed up. However, and he didn't know, but why he felt a powerful sense of sadness from his heart. This sadness came from his connection with his original body. This sadness was very strong, and as it spread, it soon shrouded his entire body. My clan member. A sound suddenly echoed inside Wang Lin's soul. This was in the language of the ancient gods. It contained such a powerful ancient aura that it would be enough to make a mortal instantly grow old. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as he looked at the ancient god-child surrounded by countless tentacles. My time. Not much. There is the aura of my clan in your. However, it is not strong. Let my real clan member come and accept my final inheritance. Wang Lin's body trembled and whispered, "Are you an ancient gold child or did you regress from an ancient god?" Just as the ancient god began to answer, the tentacles around his body seemed to have gone mad and absorbed like crazy. Large amounts of bulges appeared on the tentacles as they rapidly absorbed. This didn't only happen to the ancient god, but everyone else as well. Some of the people who already had fragile bodies exploded. It was obvious that they suddenly had all their vitality taken and died completely. This sudden change caused Wang Lin's expression to become gloomy. He didn't hesitate to return inside the furnace and form a seal. White gas surrounded him immediately. The area experiencing this huge change wasn't only the area around Wang Lin, the entire narrow passage was going crazy. As if the moongazer serpent was desperate, it rapidly absorbed all the vitality. It was as if it was going to instantly absorb all the food that it had stored up over the countless years. Popping sounds echoed as the mummified bodies collapsed. The last of their vitality was absorbed by the moongazer serpent. At the same time, this place began to shake violently as if something unimaginable had occurred outside. Following that, furious roars echoed across the moongazer serpent. The smaller moongazer serpents outside the vortex all flew into the air with ferocious expressions. Right now there were smaller moongazer serpents roaring everywhere inside the moongazer serpent. There were too many smaller moongazer serpents. They quickly moved under the lead of 8 large moongazer serpents. An extremely large battle rarely seen in any of the star systems was occurring outside the moongazer serpent. Part 206. The 7 people who were almost at the peak of the All-Heaven star system had begun a war with the moongazer serpent. The moongazer serpent's body had awakened from its curled-up form. It released a fierce roar as it changed form and its towering tentacles swayed in space. For the first time, there was a hint of vigilance in its eyes. Although its senses were different from people's, it could still feel a strong sense of danger. It hadn't felt this kind of danger in a very long time. It vaguely remembered long time ago when it was drifting that a vague voice told it not to enter a region. There was an unimaginable force within that voice that made it feel fear. This memory was from too long ago and was extremely blurry, but that sense of danger was so strong that it was engraved in its mind. Even now it was affecting its mind. At this moment, it also felt danger. Although it was much weaker than back then, it still made it cautious. Its numerous tentacles swayed as the moongazer serpent let out a roar. It was like the sound of the world being split open. It was more fierce than any thunder and could split the heavens. This sound didn't appear the last 2 times the moongazer serpent became angry. When it was facing those weak cultivators, it didn't need this, it just slaughtered them all. However, while the moongazer serpent was angry, it was the danger that it felt that made it display its true strength. There was a complex, human-like language mixed within this roar that created a spell that collapsed the space around it and continued to spread. The red-robed old man pointed up and merged with the octagonal formation. The formation stayed above the moongazer serpent and rained down flaming thunder on it. At the same, the red thunder from the 4 boys tightly restricted the moongazer serpent's movement. The black-robed middle-aged turned into a 1,000-foot giant eagle. His huge body looked like a real eagle as he circled the moongazer serpent and attacked with his claws. Even a real cultivation planet would easily collapse under the power of the black-robed man's attack. His cultivation was very strong, enough to rank among the top cultivators in the All-Heaven star system. The Shangong family ancestor closed in on the moongazer serpent with 1 step. As he opened his arms, strands of thunder moved like crazy through his body. The thunder came out as thunder dragons, and although this thunder wasn't from an ancient thunder dragon, it was from a thunder spirit. There were no less than 10,000 of these thunder dragons roaring. They charged out with the Shangong family ancestor as the source and launched a furious attack on the moongazer serpent. The Zhon family's Li Yunzi was like a white ghost. He was simply too fast and he held a silver sword. Oftentimes, his sword would pierce the moongazer serpent's body in a flash. Then the sword would shine so brightly that it was enough to blind cultivators. The silver sword in his hand would extend until it penetrated through the other side of the moongazer serpent. This was the spell that allowed Li Yunzi to shake the all-heaven star system, the heart movement celestial spell. As long as his heart willed it, nothing could block him. The 5-colored daoist turned into 5 rays of light. This 5-colored light seemed to contain great power as it rotated to form a large vortex. The vortex filled the world and continued to extend. Then the shadow of 99 maidens appeared. They all looked solemn and sat down in the lotus position inside the vortex. An extremely feminine aura came from the 99 maidens' bodies and violently condensed into a hideous evil spirit that charged at the moongazer serpent. Blood God's face was filled with indifference as he exploded into a large mist of blood. The smell of blood became very strong as the blood mist surrounded the moongazer serpent's body. He entered through the tentacles and began a rampage of destruction inside the moongazer serpent's body. Constant rumbles echoed within the moongazer serpent's body. Master Flamespark's hand formed a seal and countless fragments appeared before him. Each of the fragments were made of a fragment of the celestial realm. The fragments began to rotate under his control and a powerful celestial force created a storm among the stars. For this operation, almost the entire northern domain had been evacuated by the Thunder Celestial Temple. All of it was to capture this moongazer serpent. The moongazer serpent's roar became even more intense. This was because the impact within and on its body gave it intense pain that almost made it go crazy. It had been a long time since it had suffered such pain. Aside from that voice in its memory, it had never suffered so much pain. The moongazer serpent let out an angry roar and then a large amount of smaller moongazer serpents flew out from its mouth. There were 8 of them that were 100,000 feet long, as well as countless 10,000 feet and 1,000 feet long moongazer serpents. As the smaller moongazer serpent charged out, the language of the ancient god came from its mouth. It wasn't just the main moongazer serpent that emitted the voice of the ancient god, every single moongazer serpent did so as well. The wrath of the moongazer serpent was like the finger of an ancient god, and bright light appeared in front of every single moongazer serpent. The light shined more brightly and rapidly condensed. Soon, the ancient god finger filled the stars. Among the stars, the countless moongazer serpents formed countless ancient god fingers. This was one of the moongazer serpent's most formidable powers. The ancient god finger swept the area with the moongazer serpent as the center. This powerful force made the 6 people's expressions change. The moongazer serpent's spell didn't end. After releasing the ancient god finger, its huge body shook violently and it continued to roar. Its large body contracted like crazy as if it wanted to absorb all the vitality it had stored up. There were popping sounds echoing across space as its countless tentacles broke at their roots. A large number of tentacles broke off from its body, and the tentacles twisted and turned. Then hairs grew from the tentacles and they all turned into 100,000 feet long moongazer serpent. Aside from the blood god who entered the moongazer serpent's body and couldn't see what was going on outside, the remaining 6 were all shaken. Even Master Flamespark's pupils shrank and were filled with aghast. What kind of moon beast is this? The ancient books never recorded that a moon beast could have this kind of spell. As the moongazer serpent used this terrifying spell, all of the mortals and cultivators near Wang Lin collapsed from having all their vitality absorbed. When the countless tentacles finished absorbing, they all disappeared. At this moment, a large amount of tentacles disappeared. The more than 100 tentacles on the ancient god before Wang Lin began absorbing at a terrifying rate. This was no longer absorption but devouring. Large amounts of bulges appeared on each tentacles as they devoured the ancient god's power like crazy. At the same time, countless hairs came from the tentacles, and in the blink of an eye, these hairs rapidly extended into the ancient god's body and began to devour as well. This ancient god child is the moongazer serpent's source of life. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and his right hand formed a seal. Just as he was about to attack, that ancient voice echoed inside Wang Lin's origin soul once more. This voice was even weaker than before, as if it could dissipate at any time. Don't attack, I have already become one with the moongazer serpent. If you attack, you will immediately be attacked by the Moongazer serpent. My clan member, quickly leave and bring the one who can accept my inheritance here. I don't have much time. The ancient voice became weaker and weaker. As the tentacles continued to devour, it became almost inaudible. You can't leave with your power. I'll help you leave. The ancient god-child surrounded by countless tentacles suddenly opened his eyes. When his eyes opened, one of the 8 illusory stars suddenly collapsed. An ancient god's star had shattered. This collapse created an unimaginable force that directly passed by Wang Lin and charged toward the vortex at the end of the narrow passage. As the storm rushed toward the vortex, a large amount of red light emerged at the vortex. It was the blood god's figure that quickly condensed. After he entered the Moongazer serpent, he continued to cause destruction until he found this place. Just as he took shape, the power from the ancient god suddenly arrived. Even with the blood god's cultivation, he let out a groan and his whole body suddenly collapsed. Then a demonic force suddenly spread and helped him block the power. The demonic shadow that formed was filled with shock and immediately collapsed. It was pushed back along with the blood god and forced out of the vortex. When blood god's body reformed, his face was extremely pale and he coughed out blood. He then quickly retreated while continuing to cough out blood. He looked very weak as his origin soul was seriously injured. If not for the demon connected to his soul, he would have died. His eyes were filled with aghast and also fear and disbelief. Ancient God. The demonic shadow appeared behind Blood God and said the same thing as him. Even their eyes were the same, filled with fear. Blood God didn't hesitate to explode into a large mist of blood and use blood escape along with the demonic shadow behind him. On the outside, all of the tentacles fell from the Moongazer serpent and turned into countless smaller Moongazer serpents. This made the surrounding old monsters all gasp. Master Flamespark's eyes lit up and his hand formed seals without hesitation. The countless fragments immediately surrounded the area. At the same time, Master Flamespark let out a roar, and waves of mysterious power spread. Every single fragment was filled with power. The fragments surrounded all of the Moongazer serpents and rapidly rotated, forming a huge vortex. The red-robed old man waved his sleeves and the octagonal formation collapsed. It turned into countless smaller formations that trapped each Moongazer serpent. Then the red-robed man flew high up, formed a seal with his hand, and divided his mind to enter every single formation. The 4 boys circled tightly around the Moongazer serpent as the red core continued to seal the Moongazer serpent's path. The Li Yunzi's eyes lit up. Holding the silver sword, he went past the blockade and closed in on the countless smaller Moongazer serpents. He was so fast that he had often already attacked by the time the silver flashes occurred. However, none of these attacks had any effect on the ancient god finger created by the angry Moongazer serpent. The countless ancient god fingers that condensed shot out everywhere. Boom, boom, boom. Thundering rumbles echoed. The ancient god finger formed by the main Moongazer serpent landed on the blockade formed by the 4 boys. One of the boys' face immediately turned pale and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. Cracks appeared on the red core on top of his head and a red mist quickly spread. At the same time, the face of another boy on the opposite also turned pale and his body weakened. However, there was a red flash on his head that eventually charged out and entered the red core above his head. The moment the red light left the boy, his body suddenly collapsed. The red-robed old man created countless octagonal formations, but they all collapsed under the impact of the ancient god finger. Blood came out from the corner of the red-robed old man's mouth. Master Flamespark's eyes were bloodshot. He let out roar and his hand formed a seal that caused the celestial realm fragments to expand. It was as if the thunder celestial realm had appeared here. At a glance, it seemed like the Moongazer serpents were surrounded by the celestial realm fragment. Thunder connected the fragments to each other, locking the Moongazer serpent inside, and the fragments began to contract. At this moment, the entire northern domain was trembling as if space itself was going to collapse. Fellow cultivators, help me seal this beast. Master Flamespark's voice was like thunder. His arms stretched out and the veins on his face bulged as he used all of his power. A trace of returning to the origin appeared from Master Flamespark's body. Although it was only a trace, it caused the moongazer serpent to panic. It remembered that in its memory from long time ago, the terrifying voice that warned it also had this aura. Except that voice's aura was even stronger. The moongazer serpent remembered the terrifying feeling of that voice after feeling the aura from Master Flame's park. It remembered that when it felt that aura, it was as if it had gone back to its life within the ancient god's body, where it lived without consciousness. Fierce roars came from its body. Then its large body moved like crazy and a strange voice came from its mouth. All of the ancient god fingers from the smaller moongazer serpents started to gather before the main body. These countless ancient god fingers fused together. The ancient god finger before the main body was no longer illusory and looked real, complete with the rough skin with cracks that looked like runes. A corporeal ancient god finger appeared before the moongazer serpent. The finger pressed down along with the roar. The three boys before the moongazer serpent weren't able to resist at all. Their bodies all exploded. The red cores above their heads also shattered, creating a large, red mist. The blockade disappeared and a large number of moongazer serpents rushed out. The Shengong family ancestor stepped forth with his body filled with thunder. A large number of thunder dragons appeared to stop the moongazer serpents. It was as if the entire northern domain was shaking as the rumble echoed across the stars. The space within the area began to collapse. Even the blockade formed by the messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple 50,000 kilometers away were affected. A gap appeared, but it was quickly filled up by thunder. At the same time, the ghost formed by five-color Daoist rushed in and began its attack on the moongazer serpent. The black-robed middle-aged man followed closely after the five-color Daoist. He turned into a large eagle and opened his mouth to spit out a bell. This bell was illusory and it shrouded the large eagle. As the eagle charged out, the bell began to ring. The sound from the bell contained a very strong power. As it echoed, the collapsed space became more intense and was pushed directly toward the moongazer serpent. However, these attacks immediately collapsed in front of the almost corporeal ancient god finger. The first one to confront the ancient god finger was the Zhon family's Li Yunzi. The moment his silver sword and the ancient god finger made contact, popping sounds came from his body. He coughed out blood and was knocked back. However, after flying back 100 feet, Li Yunzi's eyes were filled with anger. He no longer retreated and instead rushed out again. His cultivation level was very high, so he didn't die under the ancient god finger, but his origin soul was damaged. The ancient god finger didn't stop and continued forward. The red-robed old man let out a roar and turned into a blood cloud that fused with the formation. The red octagonal formation collided with the ancient god finger. Just at this instant, the ghost formed by five-color Daoist closed in. The moment it got near the ancient god finger, it collapsed into large, black fog and diffused across the finger, attempting to devour it. The Shengong family ancestor didn't pause. His hand formed a seal and pointed between his eyebrows. The countless thunder dragons quickly condensed into a bolt of thunder 100 feet thick. It moved at a speed too fast for the naked eye to capture and collided with the ancient god finger. The black eagle formed by the black-robed middle-aged man didn't stop. As everyone's spells collided with the ancient god finger, he also charged forward. The bell rang when he collided with the ancient god finger. The power of an attack from 5 people at the peak of the All-Heaven star system could easily destroy a planet. It wouldn't even be difficult to destroy the northern domain. At this moment, their spells formed a vicious storm that could destroy the void. This storm was too strong. Even the expressions of the messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple 50,000 kilometers away changed. Some of the ones that were only at the illusory yin immediately turned pale and blood came out from the corners of their mouths. This storm directly collided with the almost corporeal ancient god finger. Boom! A thunder roar that echoed across the entire northern domain echoed. Li Yunzi was dyed red as blood sprayed from his body and he was mercilessly thrown far away. The black-robed man's eagle collapsed and was knocked away. Cracking sounds came from the Shengong family ancestor. His face turned pale and he coughed out blood as he quickly retreated. The red-robed old man's octagonal formation collapsed and he looked weakened. He staggered as he retreated, and there wasn't a trace of blood on his face. The one that was injured the most was 5-color Daoist, who had the weakest cultivation among the 5. After his spell was broken, popping sounds came from his body and he constantly coughed out blood while he rapidly retreated. The 5 of them were all seriously injured. The ancient Godfinger also collapsed under the combined power of the 5 people's spells. The collision of these spells created a shockwave that spread like crazy. The rumble continued to spread as space collapsed. The area within 50,000 kilometers was immediately affected by this shockwave. The few abandoned planets immediately shattered. The messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple 50,000 kilometers away all coughed out blood. They could no longer maintain the blockade and were all blown away. Further away, the 2 blockades formed by the black and red-robed cultivators were also affected. They all became pale and quickly retreated. At this moment inside the Moongazer serpent, the ancient god before Wang Lin trembled violently as the tentacles devoured him like crazy. Another star on its forehead suddenly collapsed. After the star collapsed, a large amount of the power was absorbed by the tentacles, but the ancient god's eyes revealed a strange light and he began a complex chant. A portion of the power was taken and formed a very simple transfer array. My clan member. Quickly go. Bring my real clan member here. Wang Lin silently pondered as he looked meaningfully at the weakened ancient god. Then he stepped into the transfer array and disappeared. The moment Wang Lin disappeared, countless tentacles appeared from the void and entangled the transfer array, causing it to collapse. Using Li Yunzi and company's help to obstruct the Moongazer serpent, Master Flamespark closed his eyes and shouted seal. Countless celestial realm fragments rumbled and then closed in on the Moongazer serpent from all directions. As the Moongazer serpent let out an angry roar, its whole body rushed out. Anger filled its body, and the danger it sensed from Master Flamespark almost made it go insane. As it slammed into the celestial fragments, the Moongazer serpent suddenly stopped. Its eyes were filled with fear as it looked ahead. The place the Moongazer serpent was looking at had already collapsed. As endless cold winds blew out, a person walked out. This person was extremely blurry. It was impossible to see what he looked like. The only thing one could tell was that he was male. He was extremely calm as he slowly walked out from the void. The moment he appeared, the expressions of the seriously injured Li Yunzi and company changed greatly. Even with Li Yunzi's arrogance, after looking at the person for a moment, his heart was shocked. At this moment, his eyes revealed respect. It's him. Master Flamespark actually invited him. The remaining 4 people's expressions immediately changed and became respectful. After the illusory person appeared, Master Flamespark's eyes were filled with ecstasy. The figure walked toward the Moongazer serpent. The Moongazer serpent's large body trembled as if there was an aura from this person that made it terrified. The Moongazer serpent slowly backed up. At this moment, millions of kilometers away from the Moongazer serpent, Wang Lin's body appeared. After he appeared, he immediately looked back and began to ponder. There must be a reason for the Moongazer serpent's huge change. Could it be that someone launched an attack on it? The ancient god-child inside the Moongazer serpent wants me to bring a successor, but unfortunately my original body is still in the Alliance star system, otherwise, it would be worth a try. However, I don't know if he is being sincere about the inheritance or if he wants to use something similar to a cultivator's possession spell. I have to be careful on this matter and not act recklessly. However, since I have already left the Moongazer serpent, I believe no one will be able to detect me for a short period of time. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he turned into a ray of light and flew away. Ripples appeared under his feet and, not long after, Wang Lin merged with the world and disappeared. In the northern domain far away from the Moongazer serpent, almost at the other end of the domain, was where planet Qingling was located. On this day, a ripple appeared outside planet Qingling and Wang Lin walked out. He looked at the familiar cultivation planet before him and revealed a hint of melancholy. I'm finally back. Wang Lin took a step, turned into a ray of light, and charged toward planet Qingling. However, just as he got near, several powerful auras swept toward him with hostile intent. Wang Lin frowned but immediately relaxed. Those divine senses immediately locked onto Wang Lin, but after recognizing him, they immediately dissipated. Then more than 10 figures flew like meteors toward Wang Lin. At almost the instant Wang Lin stepped onto planet Qingling, more than 10 people from the chosen immortal clan appeared. The old ancestor immediately moved forward. He became excited after seeing Wang Lin and said, "Benefactor." Wang Lin looked at the old man and the chosen immortal clan members and asked, "Was the road here smooth for you guys?" The old man took a deep breath and said, "Benefactor, the road was smooth. However, on the way here, we heard that a Yarrow family in the All-Heaven star system started a hunt for Benefactor." Wang Lin shook his head. "That matter had already passed, don't mention it again. Since you guys are here, settle down. I need to go into closed-door cultivation for several months, protect this place well." The old man quickly nodded. Wang Lin's body flickered and he no longer paid attention to the chosen immortal clan. He teleported to the top of Hengyun Peak. It was still as he left it, the cave was still there. After entering the cave, Wang Lin immediately opened the formations. The area around Hengyun Peak was immediately sealed. Then he sat down, closed his eyes, and started cultivating. Several hours later, the outside was already night. The starlight fell on the earth and everything was quiet. When the moonlight came in through the entrance, the light reflected off the ground and was very beautiful. Wang Lin opened his mouth and let out a mouthful of foul air. Ever since he left for the celestial realm, he had been extremely tired. Even when he was inside the Moongazer serpent, he was barely able to relax. However, at this moment, on his own cultivation planet, Wang Lin was able to completely relax. Right now he looked up at the sky outside the cave and began to ponder. After a long time, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and muttered, "The Yarrow family's hunt won't stop, I don't have much time left." As he pondered, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and the large furnace appeared. It gave off an ancient aura. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy that surrounded the furnace and began refining it. "The longer I refine the furnace, the more power I will be able to use. However, right now I need to study it well." Wang Lin inhaled and the large furnace immediately shrank. Eventually, it turned into a ray of light and was swallowed by Wang Lin. The shadow behind him flickered and Tar Shan walked out. Tar Shan was seriously injured and his gaze was bleak. After sitting down, Tar Shan closed his eyes. Under Wang Lin's command, he began healing himself. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and Yarrow Bingyun, who was sealed by him, appeared before him. The Karma whip wrapped around her origin soul and the soul flag wrapped around her body. There were even hundreds of thousands of golden runes sealing her. Looking at the sealed Yarrow Bingyun, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his right hand formed a seal. The golden runes around her immediately rose one by one and dyed the cave in their golden glow. Under the rune symbols was the soul flag. Wang Lin's right hand reached out and the black mist surrounding Yarrow Bingyun's body left, thoroughly exposing her body. Her clothes were currently in tatters and she looked very attractive. Her eyes were closed and her face was ashen. It was as if her life could extinguish at any time. However, there was still a large amount of origin energy inside her body, but it was separated and couldn't merge with her origin soul. Wang Lin stared at Yarrow Bingyun and began to ponder. Refining this woman into a celestial guard is a choice, but before that, I need to borrow her power. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he raised his right hand and pointed to between her eyebrows. The origin energy inside Wang Lin's body quickly activated and entered her body through his finger. Wang Lin's origin energy formed a vortex inside her body. The vortex immediately absorbed some of her origin energy, making itself bigger. Wang Lin was extremely cautious while the vortex absorbed more origin energy. Just as he was about to lose control of the origin energy, he suddenly pulled it out. Yarrow Bingyun's body suddenly shook violently and her broken clothes were immediately blown away. At the same time, the vortex inside her body came out and rich origin energy filled the area. Wang Lin immediately opened his mouth and devoured it. The origin energy that came out from Yarrow Bingyun's body turned into smoke and was inhaled by Wang Lin. After the origin energy entered his body, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and his complexion became slightly red. His origin soul quickly absorbed the origin energy he devoured from Yarrow Bingyun. Time slowly passed and the sun slowly appeared outside the cave. The light from the sun landed on the ground, dispersing the coldness of the night and creating a sense of warmth. Inside the cave, Yarrow Bingyun landed on the ground. When the sun landed on her, it made a very gorgeous sight. At this moment, Yarrow Bingyun gave off an indescribable sense of beauty, but there was a hint of sadness within this beauty. Wang Lin's origin soul had worked through the entire night. He had devoured the origin energy like crazy and turned it into his own. During this process, his origin soul's injury gradually healed. By the time the sun rose, his origin soul had recovered. Not only that, but by refining Yarrow Bingyun's origin energy, his origin soul became even stronger. After spitting out a mouthful of grey gas that drifted out of the cave, Wang Lin opened his eyes. Without any hesitation, he pressed his finger between Yarrow Bingyun's eyebrows. Origin energy entered Yarrow Bingyun's body and formed a vortex that continued to absorb the origin energy that was separated from her body. After absorbing all of her origin energy, my cultivation level will increase a lot. Then I will only need to increase my domain to finally enter the second step and reach the Nirvana Scrya stage. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light as he stared at Yarrow Bingyun. When the vortex reached its limit, he immediately pulled it out. This video will end here.